What's up, guys? We got a great video from Justice Spotlight. She thought paternity fraud was a good idea until she was proven wrong.
5 years in prison. And then I say, do you know who your son's father is?
5 years in prison? What's going on in this paternity fraud case? Let's take a look at what this woman actually did.
Now, Ms. Sear, you say you have proof that Mr. Manser is Dylan's father. You argue you are here to prove again that he is the father of your son, to finally stop him running from his responsibility.
Yes, ma'am.
So she wants to show everyone that this man needs to take responsibility and pay his child support? Will that really be the case?
She was a friend of my aunt. She was best friends with my aunt. We all lived in the same little community. She lived across the street. I knew of her. I knew her. I've spoken to her. But as far as intimacy, we was together one time. And I hate to be crude, but it was a one-night stand.
For nothing.
I don't think after all of this that has transpired, it really matters whether it was a one-night stand
Right.
or a
It does matter.
two-day trip.
My biggest concern-
The point is you all had a sexual relationship
Right.
at some point, so there is a possibility that he's the father of
Right.
your son,
Correct.
Dylan.
Possibility.
The possibility is there for... but no one wants to impregnate a woman out of a one-night stand. Because that one-night stand, you don't even know what you're dealing with, what kind of woman she is.
Okay.
In retrospect, he claims it was a one-night stand while she thought the two were dating, and that one-night stand still means that Menson could be a father to her son, Dylan.
And so
And you
you
did
showed
that,
up
huh?
for court, and what
No,
happened?
I wasn't
No, he
able
didn't
to. I
show
wasn't
up.
able to show up for court. I was completely on the other side of the state. I was indigent. I was living at my mom's. Didn't have a job at the time, so I didn't show up for court. And I was named the natural father by default.
He couldn't attend that trial, and naturally, the court proclaimed him as a father. So basically, this woman saw an opportunity and decided to use it to her advantage.
Where's the proof? I've yet to see proof that the child's mine. He said that they obtained my DNA through a sample that was already on file. That's what she's claimed
For a
this whole
daughter
time.
you didn't raise too.
So, that's right. I'm not here to win any Father of the Year awards, believe me.
Child,
I'm
you
saying
were-
I've never been proven to be the father of this child. I hadn't met him until he was like 15 years after I initiated contact
11.
for my son, Chris. I wanted
So wait,
But I
now
paid-
are
I
you
paid the ultimate
convinced he
price
is the
for that
father?
possibility.
Yes, ma'am.
Why?
Because I have had a DNA test done, and I have the results right here. Would you like a
Wasn't I
copy of
supposed
it?
Well, she's worked for lab pretty much for the last 20 years. Those was I'd
Hold on.
question the validity of the results. I mean, she'd get those.
So who is in the right here and who is in the wrong? It's hard to tell. The fact that she works at the lab makes it a real head scratcher.
I mean,
Ms. Sear, your evidence clearly states that there was a laboratory test performed.
Yes, ma'am.
I see here.
I don't think it happened. I think she worked in the lab and that she's had this thing manufactured. So. I mean,
Actually, at that time, I worked at a plasma center. I harvested plasma with 16-gauge needles. Had nothing to do with DNA.
I'm sure that, you know, when you're in a business, you know other people
Now, what's
that's in the business.
interesting to me is that for alleged father, it's entirely blank.
That's right.
Meaning
Imagine that.
there is no social security number.
That's right.
There is no address.
She forgot to
There
put
is
that
no
part in there.
information about you. It's all blank. There's no picture of you. There's no photograph.
She didn't have that information. That's right. Exactly.
So, obviously, your contention that you didn't show up, you weren't there for this particular test is
You're
true.
right.
Because there's no evidence that you were there on that
That's exactly
day.
right. Thank
We've
you, Your
established
Honor.
that.
Thank you.
We do, however, see a lab record of a collection taken on May the 1st, 1995, which they claim was you.
The story continues. The new testing was administered, which both of the alleged parents submitted to determine if he is the father or not.
Hello, Dylan.
How are you?
Thank you for joining us. Now, Dylan, I want to know about your relationship with your father.
I feel I don't know him that well.
We don't. We don't know each other.
Go ahead, son.
I love Chris, though. We've spent a lot of time together.
Your brother.
Yep.
We're gonna be brothers no matter what. No matter what happens after today.
I can't respect someone talking so much harmful to my mother
See,
like
and
that.
that's what I didn't want to do. I didn't want to do that.
You are involving all these children and in this whole drama, something that you could have corrected earlier on. You know, you could have corrected this mistake by asking the guy that, okay, you know what, this happened and I have a kid, can you get a DNA test so that we are certain that you are the father? And if it's child support or if he wants to be in the child's life, he can be. Natural for any boy not to like the alleged father talking bad about the mother, but he's also right on his end, because there's no way he will just allow himself to accept the child when he has some doubts about it.
What do you want from today, Dylan?
I haven't seen either one of them in over a year now.
Daughter on the way.
I have a daughter due in November. You're the grandpa.
So not only will this man be the father, it seems, but he may be a grandfather as well. But there is also the option that he isn't either.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and because this is a very special case, and we've had previous DNA testing done in which our plaintiff questions the chain of custody of the specimen, the actual sample that was collected.
Right. No, there's no doubt the results of this.
You filled out the proper forms.
That's right.
Including your names, date of birth, social security number.
That's right.
And you signed them, right?
Yep.
You presented photo IDs.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
there wasn't a friend of mine there either.
Not
That's
a
why
friend
these will be
there.
accurate.
The lab, because of the sensitivity of this issue, ran 2 tests.
Nice.
The results are as follows. In the case of Manser versus Sear, Mr. Manser, you are not
Oh, God.
his father.
Menson was relieved by the DNA results, as it shows that he isn't a father to Dylan. But the next part comes as shocking as it gets.
5 years in prison.
Whoa.
Dylan, I'm sorry, bro. This is why. This is why I did what I did.
But this
and
is not.
She should be convicted of some crime.
No, I should not. I didn't.
That
Mr.
is
Manser,
fraud.
Mr. Manser,
That is fraud.
I know you're upset.
He spent 5 years in prison for not paying child support for a child that wasn't his. He believes that initial results were tempered, and he took the fall for such. But there is more.
Miss Sear, do you know?
Yes, ma'am.
You know who his father is.
Yes, I talk to him still.
What? She just admitted to knowing the actual father all this time, and that she is still in contact with him, and sent an innocent man to prison for 5 years.
5 years in prison. And then I say, do you know who your son's father is? And you say, yes, I'm still in touch with him. That is a really huge pill to swallow.
It's unbelievable how this case turned out. But what's your take on it? Drop a comment with your thoughts.
I think my take on this is a woman who tried to commit paternity fraud by pinning a child on another man, and without even taking responsibility for doing that or giving it a thought that she sent an innocent man to prison. She already knows the father of the child, and she's willing to send another man to prison for that child that he didn't father. And she's even unmoved. You look at the way she's answering it. Look at her face. She's unmoved. She's not bothered that she sent him to prison. And she stood in there trying to argue that he was the father. She ran a DNA test. Like, I really can't believe this. Let me just go through the comment section to hear what everybody's saying. She needs a full 5 years in prison, and he needs compensation for them taking 5 years of his life away from him. She needs 10 years in prison and should have to pay back any money he paid child support plus interest. I agree with this comment. It would be nice to find out what happened to the woman who lied and put that man in prison. So it looks like I think the general consensus on this is that men wants this woman to be held accountable. That man, he couldn't pay child support. He went to prison. Now for the woman that sent that man to prison, intentionally knowing that he wasn't the father, what should happen to her?